Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Vlogmas. Today, I thought it would be fun to just do a very normal day in my life. This is really a pretty standard day. Now, the main difference here is I'm running behind today. I took the morning to spend with my husband. He is very busy right now, and we're just, the times we get to really spend together, I'm taking them when I can get them. And so I took the morning to just kind of hang out. So I was a little bit behind on things, exactly about 45 minutes behind from my normal schedule. Normally around 8 in the morning is when I am coming in to do starting my morning cleanup, doing sourdough, which my starter, look at her. She's coming alive. She's bubbling. This is the first day that I did a float test on her. I didn't do the float test very well. You'll see that in a minute. I'll talk about it in a second, but this is kind of what a day looks like when I'm feeling a little off, I typically have a pretty set routine, and I love that for me, but some days are just not like that. And that's kind of how today went. It was a pretty chill day, kind of running off of routine a little bit. But I did do my morning clean. I usually start in the living room, do a big sweep, and then I go to the kitchen. I do all the things in the kitchen. I take my morning medicine. I take medicine for my lungs, if you don't know. And then I do the sourdough starter, do the dishes for the morning, wipe down the counters, all of that good stuff. And then I clean, I make the bed, and just do any other tidying that I want to do. I do this because I'm working from home pretty much exclusively now, and I cannot focus if it's not perfectly clean or as clean as I can get it. So here's what I did wrong with the float test. I needed to do like a full spoonful, but I didn't. I just did a little drippy. So I didn't trust it. And I did it again this morning, the day that I'm recording the voiceover for this, and it floated beautifully. So I don't know. I thought it wasn't doubling in size, which is the sign that it's time to bake with. But Obi told me this morning that it might be that it's doubling in size, but then it's falling back down. And I actually may have had an active starter much longer than I realized. And so I'm gonna pay attention. I think I'm gonna try and make some stuff this weekend and just kind of see how it goes from that. But it's very, very bubbly. It smells right. It looks right. It feels right. It floats. All signs are there, except for I haven't quite seen with my own eyes it being doubled. You know what I mean? But I really love this part of the morning. I think it sounds like I'm doing a bunch of chores and I'm starting my day really stressful, but I just want to be clear. I woke up, at this point I'd been awake for like 4.5 hours. So I had journaled, I'd read, I'd talked to my husband. This particular day, I got half of my journaling done. I got a workout in all before I had breakfast, like a full sit-down breakfast. And then I got up to clean just before it was time to get ready for work. So I'm not like waking right up in the morning and doing a bunch of chores. I just really like to have all of this done before I start my work day because it lets me feel at peace. It lets me feel relaxed when I'm going into work, and I don't have anything to distract me, and I love that. This particular method, so what I wanted to tell you as well is that we used to switch jars every day, but I got kind of superstitious that was like making it not grow. Like that maybe by keeping it in the jar, I would keep more of the good stuff, And so then I started keeping it in the jar, and I decided I'm just going to switch jars like once a week and do a deep clean of the jar and have it ready for the next week. But I feel like that's going to be my routine. I think it works better that way. I also have tried storing this starter in so many places because you don't want your starter to be cold. So I tried a cabinet and it didn't work. I tried in the microwave actually because I thought that would be warm. that didn't seem to work very well. And I ended up actually just putting it right by my stove. And there's a little nightlight right back there that's pretty warm. The sun kind of comes in right there. And I'm cooking on the stove, usually like 2 or 3 meals a day. I actually think this might be the best place for it. I also think she's really pretty there. I used to have a big, thick black band around the jar, and I switched that out for like a little rubber band. And I just think she's really cute. And so I'm just gonna leave her there. I have a really hard time stirring this guy as well. It just takes like a lot of strength. But if you bake with sourdough and you're like, I can tell right now that's an active or not an active starter, will you let me know? Like, see the bowl right there? See all those bubbles? It feels like she's ready to go. But I'm going to pay attention to her today and see if I can catch if she grows or not. I don't know if she will. I've told myself that if she's not ready to bake with by the weekend, I'm just going to buy a starter. Our local co-op sells starter. And what I've heard is that older starter does better, is even like easier to work with. But I really just want to be the one. I don't know. I felt like I wanted to make it. But maybe that was a little ambitious, and maybe more ambitious than it needed to be. You know what I mean? So that is where we're at on that. Now, I feel like the work from home days are kind of boring, if I'm honest, y'all. This Vlogmas thing is really interesting because right now I am trying to create a ton of content because I'm trying to pre-record podcasts, pre-create Instagram content because I want to take a month off from producing. I'll still have some meetings. I'll still respond to certain emails, but I just want to have like a light work time. And so I'm working a ton at the moment and just kind of sitting behind a computer a lot of the day. And I think that's also why I like this little routine. In the morning and the evenings, I'm a busybody because I'm kind of sitting at a computer all day long. So I'm just like a golden retriever. I need to get my energy out at the end of the day. That's what I need. If you are familiar with human design, I'm a manifesting generator, and they literally tell us we need to be exhausted by the end of the day. And I have never resonated with anything more. I have got to wear myself out, or I am just not as happy. I am frustrated. So I did my sourdough starter. Now I'm just cleaning up. And all of that to say, I feel like if I'm filming my work days, it's so boring. And I feel like a vlog like this, where I'm just taking you throughout a very normal day, is really, really boring. So I don't know. I'm sorry if it is, but I'm just I like these kinds of vlogs, and everyone who I watch who makes these kind of vlogs is always switching it up. And I was like, no, don't switch it up. Oh, I got a bread box real quick. I got a bread box. So we're going to kind of rewind to the day before when I got it delivered, and I kind of put it together. And I really like the one we ended up getting. We got it on Amazon. I think it was like $30, and I felt really good about it. But what I was saying is that I love watching people who do just like cozy home vlogs. I like hearing about people's work days, their normal everyday routines. That is the kind of content that I watch. And every person that I watch who does this kind of content, they say that they always are trying to switch it up, get more interesting. They'll do like a travel vlog, or they'll do like a how-to vlog, and I'm always like, no, just go back. I want your chatty every day in your life, boring. Give me your boring routine stuff. That's what I'm into. So it's so fascinating to be on the other side of that, making the content and feeling like, no, my everyday is too boring. I should try to make it entertaining. I can't just show me sitting behind a computer all day and talking about that. And at the same time, I know for myself, that's what I enjoy. I like watching people and like the repetition of certain things. I could literally watch a vlog of someone just pouring coffee in a bunch of different directions over and over and over again, that's where I'm at on the scale. But for me, that's what I find interesting. And so maybe you're the same, if you're here, maybe that's also your thing too. And we're kindred spirits. And if that's the case, well, we're going to be great, I love the little knobs on this case, and it had like a screen on the front, like a film that I had to peel off, but it was like stuck between the wood and the glass. So it took me like 2 days to get that fully out, but I eventually did. It just took a minute. But I ended up really liking this. I'm going to use the bottom for loaves and the top for like bagels and cookies or like any other baked good that we might do. English muffins, things like that. So here is the before. That's kind of what it looked like before. And here's the after. I love it. That little bowl on the top is just holding some potatoes. We have our banana hook up there. I feel really good. So the next thing I did after I cleaned up is just took a quick shower. And then I got into work. Now, like I said earlier, what I'm doing right now mostly is creating podcasts. I'm doing this thing on the podcast called New Year's. I've been calling it New Year's Eve extravaganza. And then I realized that New Year's Eve doesn't make sense because I'm doing this for 2 weeks. And so it's really just New Year's extravaganza. And also, it's not really an extravaganza. It's more of like a reflection time that we're doing together. Extravaganza just makes it sound more fun. So that is what I'm calling it. I will say that it is really interesting to be creating this much content back to back to back. It's been really fun to do, but it's taking a lot of energy. I have one more day of recording. I think I have 3 podcasts to record tomorrow. And then I have like a solid month where I can take a break from creating this much content. But I finished all of that up, went to therapy. Here's the lovely waiting room in my therapist's office at around 11. And then I took myself out for a little lunch and out for a coffee. I finished my journaling from the morning post-therapy, which is actually really nice. I love to journal after therapy just because it helps me to integrate what we talked about. I usually have some prompts that I walk myself through, like what were the main takeaways, what's a way that your therapist described you today, things like that. And then I sat at the coffee shop and worked for a little bit. It's not really pictured here, but I did do that. And I just worked on, more writing, more creating. Obi came and saw me, and we sat and talked for a little bit, and that was really nice. But I really had a hard time focusing there, so I ended up just going right back home and scheduling out some podcasts for the week. So I got home, sat down, I immediately scheduled out the podcasts. I missed a day this week, friends. I recorded the podcast. Obi edited the podcast, but I just guess I didn't schedule it. I just missed the scheduling and I missed a day. I'm going to use that podcast later, for a later episode. But I got a DM of someone on Instagram who's like, "Are you okay? You missed a podcast." But everything was fine. I just missed it, I guess. We've had a lot going on over here. So I guess with the mix of, I can't even tell what month I'm in at this point because I'm creating so much for January. So, I decided to make leftovers for dinner. So normally on weeks it's just me and Obes, we do every plate and we don't have leftovers because it's like pretty well portioned out. And I really like that actually, except I like to have leftovers for lunch. So, it's a give and take. But this particular day, I had made an orzo soup. I had like a lasagna skillet, and then I had a broccoli rice casserole. And we still had a lot of leftovers. It was a Wednesday, and I was like, let's get through these leftovers. And so, I just reheated leftovers for dinner, and that was pretty easy. So pretty chill. And a little make out sesh. Sorry, guys. I should probably skip through some of that, but oh well, here we are. So yeah, I just heated that up, and that was all that I had to do for dinner, which was nice. It's nice to have just like an easy night, and yeah, all went well. I give the kiddo a little bit less of like the main meal usually than what Obi and I eat. And then I give them some fruit and veg on the side. Our kid, whenever they were like 3 years old, I told them that every meal needed to have a fruit, a vegetable, and a main. And they have stuck to that. I mean, they're almost 12 now, and they have stuck to that. So I still kind of do it. Sometimes I'm trying to kind of integrate them more into what we eat as like a main thing. But, you know, if they love fresh raspberries and fresh carrots and they would rather have that on the side than like more pasta, I think that's fine. You know, like I'm not super stressed as long as they're, you know, able to eat spices and, you know, integrate, like able to mix things together, all that kind of stuff. That feels good. But that has also, you know, everybody's journey is different with that. And I feel like we're still kind of building that up in our house. And I was going to have the rice casserole, and then Obi was like, no, can I have it? And I thought I was taking the worst one. So that worked out great. I didn't like the rice casserole as much, but then I did have it as a leftover, and I will say I loved it. So maybe I just, you know, didn't like it the first night. It had a lot of Lowry's sea salt in it, or like seasoning salt. And for whatever reason, I didn't like that very much. So anyway, y'all, I need to cut these makeout sessions out, but I didn't. Next time. Oh, I was doing the test with Obes where like, if I dance, will you dance too? He passed the test. I don't know if you guys have seen that on social media. That worked out. I was real worried there for a minute. It was touch and go. Okay. This vlog is a little erratic, but that's the day. We spent the rest of the night just together as a family. Obi did the dishes and I went to bed. I will see you soon for the next one. Bye.